Alright guys, so I'm back with the BE6S comparison to the Colossus XT. Again, different size vehicles, clearly. This is a different scale. This is 1/8, 1/7, a little bit larger 1/7 as I talked about. So it's basically like a 1/6. But what I'm comparing here is value and basically what you get out the box. This truck's definitely going to compare to that truck with that. Actually, it's coming in at a lower price point. It's about $100 lower price point than what this one is. And even for that extra $100, less than $100, I can get you this truck with the CNC shock towers upgrades and these steel tip body posts and still be less than what this truck is. So that's why it's a relevant price point to me. That and the power. It's a 2200 kV 4-6S motor. This is a 1450 4-6S motor. It looks to be about the same Canon thing. So you're clearly going to have more power and things like that on this. You might be able to upgear this one a little bit more. But the gearing for this truck is still a little bit new to me, so I'm not even sure how that works just yet as far as what the spur is and what the tooth count is on it right now as far as pinion. But I'm sure you can go up as well on that one. This one's just got a lot of headroom. They give you 11.2 stock, and you can really climb it up. I mean, I'm up to a 19 on this with these big tires. And again, this is a XE-Run motor that's in this one right now. But even still, I was up gearing to 1920 tooth as well with the stock motor set up in them. So it definitely can handle it. It's just my XE-Run runs a lot smoother and a lot cooler now. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get comparing. Now, if you already watched the Rampage video, I may cover a couple little things here and there that are the same. And that's basically just because I have to. I mean, if somebody's tuning in right now and looking at this for a B6 comparison, they may not know the exact differences that I've already explained and may not want to take the time to watch it. So I may double cover some things, so I apologize. But it's almost unavoidable. So going off of, let me find. Alright, so first thing, obviously the roll cage is a third-party option. But it is an option. It's a very nice option, and it actually helps protect this rear wing assembly here, which is so much more sturdy with this piece over the top of it that is bracketing to the chassis. So it goes underneath and kind of grabs and comes down. So it's a very nice setup, very durable. Has protected this wing dramatically for me. I've broke my wing mount and chewed up wings before with this truck, but yet this is still the original one I did. Just a little scuff here and there from where it's probably got on the side of it at. So it's awesome setup as far as that goes. The arms on this thing are very beefy. Now this is the aluminum ones. The arms are definitely thicker on the BE6S than they are the CEN. They're bigger, they're wider. These are more solid, but the BE6S has a thicker gapped ones. I might pull some out real quick and show you what the stock ones look like. But these are the aluminum upgrades. These come with these aluminum shocks. The shocks on these ones are smaller, of course, but it's also a lower riding vehicle. Doesn't need as big of shocks, but the benefit of these are full aluminum shocks. Aluminum capped and aluminum bodied. It's about a 24 millimeter bore. Just going off of the threading on the outside, and this one's 26. So, shockingly, these are only about a 2 millimeter different bore. And this is a 1/8 vehicle. This is what I consider a 1/6, but listed as a 1/7. So those shocks, again, huge upgrade. And these are the towers I was telling you about. For the little bit extra money, it's still cheaper than the other one. You get these towers as well, front and rear, and these body posts. So basically, everything you're seeing here would be stock. This motor mount, the aluminum differential housing, the front and rear shock tower that would come cheaper, the body posts. The only thing you're seeing physically is the upper and lower arms and the electronics that are not the same in this truck from what you would get stock. So the BE6S out the box comes loaded, and I mean it's loaded and in quality. I mean it really is. If you haven't checked out Redcat yet, they're great vehicles. I mean they're really hard to find anything wrong with the BE6S at the price point and value. I mean, I'm going to eventually, the next up for this is going to be the BE6S compared to the E-Revo, and I've been waiting a long time for that one because I used to have an E-Revo, And when I first got this truck, my first thought was, man, this thing's way better than the E-Revo. Again, I was 2 years in between of having one and having this in front of me to have that side-by-side comparison. But now, with me opening up myself to these other vendors, I actually have that chance to do that now. So I will. Just for all the Traxxas guys out there that think the E-Revo is the shit, this truck right here is going to show you that it's not. It's not as good as you think it is, not out the box and not for the price. So again, let's get back to comparing here. Drive shafts on this, I know the drive shafts, we already figured that out. These are 8 millimeter here. It's 8.8, but that's just because I didn't do it right. These here on the BE6S are very thick for the size and upgraded over the standard, which I think was a 5, and these are a little bit over 6. So, again, 2 millimeters thicker, but the center drivetrain also is 6 millimeter on this, which it is on this as well. So, one of the huge differences, though, on that is, so far, that I've seen with the CEN, ease of access to the motor mesh and just getting in there. I mean, remove these 2 bolts, and my motor's off. And then pinion's right there, fully accessible on the other side. I can see my gear mesh if I want to slide it back in. This one has a cover on it. I'm assuming, again, without pulling this cover off, I'm assuming that I should be able to see that gear mesh here as well. Just not sure how easy it is to mesh it, whereas this is just straight up a slide style. I'm just moving this in and out and then tightening it down, making sure the gear mesh works good, and then fully tighten it down. So it's just so much more simplified on this particular setup. Everything's got a spot. Everything's nice and tight. It does have the 2 battery tray options for this one, whereas this one, like I was talking about on the Rampage, you're going to have the issue with double stack 2 3S batteries, double stack. That top one can come off, and there's nothing really holding it here. So again, it's a downfall for me on that. I mean, they do tilt the battery tray back like this, but it's still going to have momentum, and you can tie your cable around. I can bring the cord around this side and put it underneath of this like this. That way it kind of holds it and prevents it from coming forward. But then you're yanking on your cords if you have a real bad, bumper crash or something. So again, it's the jury's out on that for me. There's people out there that may have already figured this out and had time to mess with that. But just my initial thoughts out the box and the way it looks is it may need some work, or that upgraded battery compartment. So, again, layout, as far as everything else goes with the truck, I got no problems with the CEN layout whatsoever. I think it's a nice open design. The question in the gearbox and things like that, just because I'm not familiar with it, I'm sure it's not as bad as it looks. Again, very, very durable bumper, very hard bumper. The shock towers on this one, whereas I feel they're better than the Rampage, I do not feel so for the same equal value when we start talking about the fact that you can have the CNC aluminum bundle that I sell for $620 for everything that you see, with the exception of the aluminum arms and knuckles and things on this truck, and the electronics, of course. But you're still getting the Max 8 downgraded version of the Hobby Wing, which is the 2200 with the Max 8 ESC that you get on this truck stock. So again, we're still comparing. You are getting a bigger ESC, the better ESC, I should say, because you're getting the Max 8 version of this, not the Quick Run, and then of course the bigger motor. So that's a power difference, and that's going to definitely show up when you pull that trigger. Either way though, I don't see you being disappointed with this truck pulling the trigger. Just again, we're comparing the size and thickness of parts that this vehicle offers, and the size and thickness of parts that this vehicle offers, and performance wise, and basically what you get out the box. So that's the only reason I'm doing this. The access I was talking about, the access to the center diff. If I didn't have the cover on here, which is the T-bone cover, the center diff is right here underneath these 4 screws. Drops right out. This is just a trench. Gives you your front and rear drive shafts. All the drive shafts on this truck are completely upgraded from the MT8E. They're all 1 millimeter thicker. So all your drive cups down here, which we already know from the other one. Let's see if I'm going to be able to get to it. I'm not going to be able to get to that drive cup to measure it. But the drive cups on these things upgraded are definitely thicker than the stock MT8E one. Plus, They're about the same thickness, if not thicker, than the ones that are on there. So that's a good equal part. This is a 1/8 vehicle that's comparing with a larger, as far as drive shaft parts, things like that go. It's pretty much a larger 1/8 scale in itself, whereas this to me is a larger 1/7 scale. So the vehicles themselves are both, in my opinion, up there for what's out on the market, just by looking at them and just from knowing other vehicles and seeing it. I mean, I'm positive that after I'm done my E-Revo comparison, you know, you're going to see that the BE6S is probably better, at least as far as out the box goes, because I can't really show you running it, although I got plenty of videos on YouTube showing it run. But I'm not going to do a run-by-run comparison because each run is different. Every single drive is different. I already know what the E-Revo feels like. I don't think I'm going to start driving that again and taking any chances going out there and wrecking and upgrading parts when I have a fully upgraded truck here. That would cost me less to do out the box than what the E-Revo would do. So, but again, that's not what we're talking about right now, and that's for later to come. But as far as the vehicle and the CEN goes, it's power-wise. There's not much I can show you right now since these two aren't identical. As far as specs and size, but for power, they are definitely equal power as far as being on the market, 6S powered trucks. So with that being said, that is your length difference. That's even in the middle back there, center of the axle to center of the axle, and so it's definitely a longer truck. That's your distance. Just want to show this view of it as well, because I did that with the Rampage and it was actually a little wider still, but this truck seems like with the BE6S is actually wider than the CEN, which means it's probably as wide as my 1/5 scale Rampage in its current form. So just to give you that visual, it's a beast, man. It's a wide, balanced truck. Alright, so I just want to show that real quick. So stock for stock, again out the box, the bumper on this truck is much more beefier, again expected because it's a larger vehicle, but the bumper setup on this is protected by this right now, which is awesome, plus the T-bone. This setup isn't going anywhere, and you can still add the T-bones probably and still be under the price of this, even with the upgrade. So even if you didn't want the CNC towers, you still get decent towers for it, and you get the plastic posts here. Even if you took that money and put it into a roll cage and this, you now have this stuff, the roll cage and the T-bones, for less than you would have for the truck by itself on this one. So again, benefits of this, no matter how you package it, are going to be cheaper out the box than what we're looking at here. So this is a toss-up to anybody looking at these two trucks. Do you want something that's going to be a little slower and large and impressive, or do you want something that's going to be fast and just tear it up? Something you're going to be able to up gear, something you're going to be able to put that bigger motor we talked about with the Rampage, that you're limited here because you're going to bump right here. Anything bigger than this motor that's in here, you're going to start chiseling this out. And this is actually the bottom of the waterproof receiver box. So I don't know how far you want to keep chiseling on that down without sealing it back up. And this is there's plenty of room here. This is really high above the drive shaft, so you definitely have room there. But with this one, there's nothing. I mean, you just take off the motor. You got like another at least 30 millimeters behind it, so you could almost put like a 92 millimeter motor in here if you really wanted to. I don't think it needs it. But some of the Tiken motors and things like that are longer canned and definitely would fit in this truck without any issue, whereas I don't feel they would on this one. So upgradability for this truck is huge. I mean, you can already see the CEN. I haven't seen a bunch of upgraded parts for it yet. May not need them. This arms, people don't like arms and things being aluminum. I did this because I needed to be able to show them, plus I wanted to make it a little flashier. So these were done just for that reason, just to make the truck flashier, basically. So typically, though, if you leave these plastic, you're going to leave yourself a breaking point, which is a good thing. Me right now, my breaking point is going to be this front part of the chassis. But with this truck, another good thing I like about it is it connects right underneath of there. So underneath this part that's covered right now. So underneath that part that's covered right there, there's a chassis connection piece that allows me to separate this whole front chassis piece from the center chassis. So if I go ahead and snap an arm here and it rips my plastic, I literally can just replace this front plastic piece, rebuild my diff and my arms onto that plastic piece, and then attach it back to the front chassis. I don't have to gut this whole center and move it to another chassis like you would on a different vehicle. I'm not speaking of this one because the design on this also I think will be fine for bashing. With that plate down here, it's got this plate that looks like it would be the only thing to break. If the front end were to go here, looks like you're going to rip screws probably out of here first, the bottom two, just because that's where it attaches to that rail system at. The other two are the servo savers, so that's the weak spot. I'm going to imagine if the arms are going to break, that's where the front's going to pull from. And may not be a big issue, but this one here, in comparison to, again, a different vehicle in the market, or just in comparison to how it's built, is very nice. A 3-piece chassis set allows you to be able to do that, versus a whole solid unit that you just have to build off of. So that's another plus, in my opinion, that the BE6S has, design-wise. And it's just an impressive truck, man. Anybody that's seen it run, anybody that has one, knows it. And it's really hard to talk to people and show people. That's why I'm doing these videos. That's why I want to do the video with the E-Revo, and I'll continue to go from there. If anybody wants to put up against it, and I have access to it. I'll put this truck up against anything on the $600 market range, and that includes the Neros, that includes the Creightons even. The Creightons are less expensive, impressive trucks, but if I brought them out side by side and showed you the same thing, drive shaft thicknesses and things, the upgraded parts that you get on this truck out the box, like the towers, I'm sorry, not the towers, the shocks, the wing shims that are aluminum, the gearbox, the sliding style motor mount, all that stuff that are upgrades off of the other vehicle that comes standard on this one that you don't get in a lot of vehicles. You're not getting upgraded parts on an E-Revo. You're not getting upgraded parts on a Creighton. But, again, power-wise, these trucks are very similar. They're all 6S systems. They're all right around a 2,000 kV motor. I forget what the E-Revo is nowadays. I'm sure they may have changed that over the years. But that's still going to be a fast 60-some-mile-an-hour truck, and that's what this is out the box after you do a pinion gear change. You don't need to change the spur like you do on the E-Revo, as I remember. But a pinion gear itself will just get you where you need to be at on this truck. Jury's still out on this one. I can just tell by the KV motor, though, that we're going to be faster with the BE6S, and it's only a pound difference, so we're not looking at a ton of weight difference to say one's going to be faster than the other. I did want to cover something real quick as well, because I have put this truck down already twice now about the battery holder on this, which I know there's an upgraded one, so I wasn't even thinking about it. Somebody told me it's a pain in the ass to have the double stack battery, so I was kind of going off of the unboxing video I had watched, and people were talking about it. And really, like I said, not having too much experience with the vehicle myself, kind of ignored the possibility. But this is wide enough to fit. I took two 3S batteries of the Slims and laid them in there. So if you do have slim batteries, you can stand them up this way. And then at that point, you definitely have enough room here to lay them down, not have to worry about them sliding out. But the fat packs, though, are the problem. When you start stacking fat packs, that's still going to be an issue. And like with this one, I can throw the fat packs in it and strap them down. But I had to do the same thing. I had to come up with a way to do it. I had to dremel the side out right here. So I took it down from there to here, and that allowed the fat packs to slide in underneath the motor mount and all. So I had to do work to that one to make that happen as well. So I'm not faulting it, knowing that that stands up and that you can do my two 3S batteries side by side. It doesn't make that as big of an issue for me. Also, talking to one of my guys on the video I just did for the Rampage for this, he said that he's pretty sure that these were aluminum. So I did the tap on them, and I mean, they felt like a hard, like gray Traxxas type plastic. But sure enough, these are aluminum bodied with plastic tops. So the threading it's very deceiving. It's got a very plasticky look, and it was just very deceiving. So I do apologize on that. They are aluminum shocks, which for the Rampage, though, I still pick this truck. So if anything else, it's just more of a benefit, knowing that I can put my batteries in there like that and having these. It's not going to change my opinion on the BE6S yet, though, because I already have aluminum shocks and already have a decent battery tray. So just want to point that out, because I did state some things that weren't 100% accurate on this truck earlier, and I just wanted to correct that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm about to finish up with this. This we know has the original C-hub and knuckle style. I do want to show the tire style, or the knuckle style on this, because I do prefer this style. Most people will recognize it. And again, these are aluminum, but the plastics are identical. But they are this style here, which it may have a name. I just love this style better. I don't like the C-hubs. I think it creates a weak spot, another connection that doesn't need to be with the C-hub, and then holding the knuckle. So I know the screws back out on some other vehicles, and they can be troublesome. This, to me, is so much of a better system, so much of a better knuckle, and it kind of keeps everything in line together. So I love it. It's so easy to replace, too. I mean, we're talking about replacing the A-arm. These trucks are one of the easiest things I've ever replaced when it came to changing out A-arms. Literally, it's a screw here that you remove and allows the pin to come through. You take off the bottom skid plate, and literally you can pull the pin right out, drop the arm, disconnect it down here, and you've taken off your arm. And you're ready to put on a new one, if you needed to with plastic. Arms itself, parts are cheap for the BE6S. You could buy a set of front, rear, upper, and lower, all 4 arms for this truck for under 20 bucks for all 4 of them as a replacement. So I mean, you would never, and they work for all the way around the vehicle, so you wouldn't have to. You buy one set of arm packs, and you have to break 4 of each before you have to buy another one. So the parts on this, don't let people tell you the parts are expensive or hard to get. Don't buy Redcat because the parts are going to be difficult to get. No, the parts are not difficult to get. I could have these arms shipped out in 2 to 3 days, no matter where you are in the U.S. if I needed to. If you were ordering something and needed it in a pinch, you're not going to wait too long. I mean, I've went in numerous times back when I had Traxxas to the Traxxas dealer and still had to wait for parts to come in on their truck because they didn't have it in stock or whatever the case may be. So, again, don't listen to that hype. I mean, unless you have an awesome hobby shop that has a great inventory compared to mine, it just isn't what they all say it is as far as accessing parts. And this truck is one of the best ones on the market. I will put my own money on it. I've told people that anybody wants to buy that truck and is not impressed with it for the dollar amount and what's on the market, I told them I'd return it. Again, you have a window. There's a time frame to that. I mean, you're not going to keep it for a month and return it on me. But this truck, I put my money where the mouth is on this truck. It's an impressive truck, and I love it. So, I mean, that's, again, I just kind of wanted to go over that, man, show an overview of these. I'm not doing a huge comparison. I've done an unboxing video for this truck. I've talked in detail about this truck. I did a brief overview of this. There's tons of unboxing videos on this, talking more in detail about this truck. But here they are side by side, and that's what I'm here for, is to show them to you up close and personal and give you a couple of the quick comparisons. Because, like I said, I know the A-arms are thicker stock. These are going to have thicker drive shafts. CV axles and all that stuff are huge on this. So I don't even put that. I bet you these stub axles are probably about the same size because these are huge. That's it right there. And you can just see how big it is as far as what the size of the shaft is. So, and the end of it, you can even see the end when it pulls out a little bit, how fat the end of that ball is. So it's got a big fat ball in here, big fat pin that goes through. It's a good setup, man. You don't see anybody selling a BE6S really, especially not in like my group and things. Only time you see somebody selling a BE6S is when something's wrong. They either need money, something came up, or there's rarely something is the answer is I just don't like the truck. Rarely ever is that the answer. Now you'll see some MT80s because they're not the upgraded version, and you need to put a lot more money into it to get it to be a BE6S just from the upgrades and things that come standard on this truck and the price difference. So you'll see a lot of people that will sell the MT80, but you won't see a ton of BE6Ss out there. Not at all. I mean, look around. I mean, I've done it. I've always keep an eye on them, and I've even bought a couple used ones just because they are rare, and sometimes, you catch somebody at a bad time, and they're letting it go for such a good price, it's kind of hard to turn down. This is one of the best trucks on the market. I'll put my money where my mouth is on that. And, you know, this truck, I put it up against the Big Rock. I could put it up against the E-Revo. I'm showing you here. I love the CEN. I've already said that. I think between the Rampage, I would take this truck, you know, earlier. Now, I'm not going to say the same thing with the BE6S. And I haven't even driven this. We still haven't driven this truck yet. But I'm just going off of factual comparisons. And that's the motor KV difference. What I know about this truck, how it performs, the third-party support that I know that's out there for this truck that I love. Like, I love this roll cage. I mean, I've rolled this truck so many times with this roll cage, and all I'm doing is scuffing this up here and there. So, you know, the roll cage itself is just a beast protection for me. It's a sharp look, protects my wing. The truck, the power the truck has, the torque it has, the fact that I've never had an issue, even with my old MT8E through this one, I haven't had issues with these trucks. My part list and things I've replaced out of necessity is so low. I mean, we're talking probably under $35, $40 for this truck, my money out the pocket. And, you know, and that's the wing shim, the wing thing that I broke on the other one, the wing support, I mean, and I broke pivot ball section in here, and I had to replace that. And that's retail. I said my cost. I meant, you know, what it would cost for you to buy it from me. Never broken an A-arm on this truck. I have on the little one. And nothing has ever broke on this truck for me. I've had customers that had the pin issue with this truck where the center drivetrain pin, I guess the weld wasn't tight on it and has came out. Redcat's awesome. They replaced them. The shafts are the same front and rear on each side of the differential, which is a steel differential housing. So, you know, you can actually, they were sending you 2 shafts, so if one breaks, you have a spare no matter what. So, it's just awesome, man. Redcat support's awesome for this kind of stuff. The vehicle's awesome. If you haven't pulled the trigger on this truck yet, please don't talk about it, because you just don't know what you're talking about. Because once you do, you open your eyes up to a whole nother market of, wow, that's a Redcat? Wow, man, that truck's pretty impressive. And I hear it all the time. I hear from my customers that have never owned it that finally own it. So, you know, maybe you'll be the next one. Maybe you'll see this truck and think, wow, man, that thing was pretty good compared to that CEN. I have one, and that thing's pretty beefy. Or same thing with the E-Revo when I do that one. You'll be able to get a chance to see it, and it really is a better truck. And for my money, just like I said for the other one, for my money out the box, dollar for dollar, for me spending $620 on my website and getting this bundle, if it's, you know, if I'm just a customer, with the CNC towers, front and rear, truck ready to run out the box with, you know, minus batteries, same thing as this, whereas this is selling for $650 on the website. Again, I have a coupon code Reaper for that. You can type in and save a little bit more, but you're still going to be equal comparison here price-wise, roughly. And I'm taking the BE6S all day just because I know where it can go, where it is, and it comes better equipped out the box with the bigger motor and things like that. And the scale size isn't huge difference. I mean, I like a 1/8 scale vehicle. I don't have a ton of room for a vehicle like this to start collecting them. Like, you know, you start getting the Rampage and vehicles like this, and you start running out of room really quick. Whereas, you know, the 1/8 scales, at least you can get a couple of them in the spot where 2 or 3 of these in the spot where 2 of these trucks would probably fit or sit. So that's my overall comparison between the vehicles, man. I just, again, wanted to cover them visually, and, you know, drive shaft wise and things like that, which I already knew some of the parts were, their sizes were, just because I'd done this one earlier. But this is it, man. This is the BE6S. Better buy stock for stock, in my opinion, without even driving it, just going off of what you get and the value that you get out of this truck and the parts and what I know about how it brakes, how it handles and things like that. And I say, well, how it brakes, I mean how it doesn't break, and versus how it handles and things. So, all right, guys, not to rush through this one, man, but it's been a long long night, and I've been trying to get this video done. I was going to try to get it all done in one clip, just didn't kind of work out. So if you guys have any questions, it's something I kind of breezed past real quick on this, and you guys say, hey, well, how about this on this truck? Shoot me a comment. I mean, I can always answer something down below in the comment section as well, as far as comparison, if I missed something or didn't cover something that you were interested in. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and if you guys, again, have any questions, hit me up down in the comments section. I will be happy to get right back to you, man.